Okay, hello and welcome to the HorseToast Deathgarden podcast. It's been a while since our last episode, but I am Poncha, your host. Joining me is MonkeyBot.
Hello.
And also joining me is Phoenix Echelon.
Hello.
Okay, so basically the reason we're doing this podcast is because there's been, a bit of an update to Deathgarden. Well, I say an update, it's more of like information that they've given to the players about what sort of direction they want to take Deathgarden in, and they basically completely scrapped what they were actually going to do, because I think they've understood that the game is definitely not going as to plan, and they're obviously looking for feedback, and they obviously realise that they need to take the game in a new direction. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today, and also giving our feedback on it. Well, feedback on what they've said so far. So, I mean, if we've all seen the video that they put out, the Dev Diary 1, and obviously the first thing is that they're obviously trying to take it into a new fantasy and lore aspect. They want to basically have it so you feel like you're actually immersed in their universe, their lore, their sort of game, instead of every time you... Because currently when you play Deathgarden, you're basically playing as a nobody. Like you don't really feel like you're part of the game. You just sort of feel like you're playing as just a runner who has no backstory. You don't really care if they die or lose, or you don't feel connected to that character. And same with the hunter, you don't really have any incentive to sort of like. It's just you
Immerse yourself with the character.
Exactly. Most games will have even something simple as just, reload, or something when someone, swapping mag, or something like that when they're changing
Any
mag.
call-outs.
Yeah, there's nothing like that in Deathgarden. Now, understandable, it's early access, so, and they want to obviously take the game far, and they actually want to improve on it. So I can't really, disparage that they have lack in that department, but if they want to make obviously if they're taking the game into fantasy and lore, I feel like if they have it so that characters actually have voice lines and speech lines, they'll actually, as you said, it will immerse you more into the game. And that's obviously the first
question is if that even fits into the context of stealthing around between bushes and being quiet as a... But I get the gist of what you mean. Basically, you have nothing to identify yourself with as a runner or hunter so far, because they're just personality empty vessels so far.
Exactly. I mean, take there's three games that come to mind when I think about backstory, lore, and just everything like that. The first one, of course, is probably everyone knows this is Overwatch. Their characters have very deep, backstories. They have voice lines. They have certain things that they do that just represent their character, and it really sort of immerses that player in playing that particular character. And also, those characters interact with other characters in a way that you'd expect them to act. And it's a perfect example of a game that immerses you. When you play Overwatch, you feel like you're being immersed in their universe. You feel like you're being immersed in Overwatch. Another game that comes to mind is Rainbow Six Siege. They have operators that all have their own backstories, all have their own appearance and lore behind them. And
personality.
They all have their own, actresses and actors voice lining them, and you actually feel like you're being part of it. So this is obviously the direction that they want to take Deathgarden in. I mean, there is an image that I'll put up on the screen right now which shows the characters that they've been developing so far, like Volt and Stinger. So I'm hoping that these characters are going to be basically having their own distinctive voice lines and maybe own clothes. And I think the question that I'm most eager to know is it going to be characters that actually have their own, a bit like a set locked class, if you know what I mean? Not even
whether your class and your abilities are tied to the character that you're playing, or whether you're going to play a character and can choose the class and abilities that you have afterwards.
Because there's quite a few different ways they could go about it, because are they just going to have hunters and runners? And with hunters, you can pick maybe A, B, C, or D hunters, and each of it, A has, let's say, a shotgun and sentries, B has mines and a sniper, C has a flamethrower and ICU, and then D has something and something else. Is that how? And then basically they each have their own names, they each have their own backstories, their own voice lines, and their own personality. Or is it going to be like, let's say, because you could take a game like Overwatch or Evolve where they have different classes, like they have healer. Now, of course, we know in Deathgarden that they have classes. So in those classes, is there going to be multiple different types of that class? For example, in the healer role, is there going to be 2 different, basically, runners that are healers that have their own backstories and different abilities that you can basically play as? So that's where I think, personally, if Deathgarden go down that road and actually have characters and actually have that impact, then this is all good. But of course, it comes in the problem about, I think what they mentioned in their video is that it's going to be changing the gameplay up. And they want to make the gameplay much more scary for the runner, or more, you feel when you're playing as a runner, you want to feel like you're actually scared to die or something like that. And it scares me because this is where the gameplay starts to go more unbalanced. Is it just for fun now? And also, obviously, they wanted to soften the team play, so
pretty much lower the skill floor.
Lower. Are they going to lower the skill of the game and basically then ensure that it's basically catering to a wider audience of players?
Yeah, because as it is, it's pretty hard to get anything going as an individual player if there's no team effort. Like if you team up with random people in the quick play lobbies, you end up with teams that are pretty uncoordinated, and that gives sometimes a hard match for the one side or the other. And catering more towards the individual might make it easier to get into it, lower the skill floor a bit, but it's questionable how that's going to be done.
Yeah, are they going to because Dead by Daylight obviously is their best friends when it comes to them. The same developers worked on Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight is not. I don't know. I could get hate for it, but
but let's call it as it is. Let's call it as it is. When we saw what was gonna be the change in Deathgarden, we all thought the same, and that was gonna be they're gonna go towards Dead by Daylight. So much of what they're saying sounds like they want to pull the game towards that direction.
And so are they going to basically be catering to the stupid people, people who can't team play?
See, I don't mind it being softened, but I don't want it softened to the point where I could carry a game by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what they said in their dev blog. Like in the video, they said it's not going to be as much about winning or losing anymore as it is about the individual experience and getting a sense of you've got something done or not. That reminded me a lot of what they do in Dead by Daylight, whereas it doesn't matter as much whether you manage to escape in the end as a team, whether you get the exit doors open and manage to actually get away from the killer, as much as you got to do objective-based points and team-based points to get your blood points, your pip, which is depends. It determines whether you're going to rank up or rank down. So even if you lose or win at the end, it's going to be on your individual performance whether you're successful or not. And that's a lot of what it sounds like.
I do get that. You have to then... Yeah. Obviously, you have to enjoy the game either way. If you lose a game, if you lose a good game, you're still going to enjoy it. Yeah. But you're going to get to a point where if they focus on it too much, if you lose every game but you're still immersed, you're not really getting the...
Yeah, what's the...
You know what I mean? Yeah, why would you bother winning? You might as well just go in a bush and go oh, immersive.
That's the thing. Is if the game does become so much self-reward, which I like self-reward because everyone has games where they play with complete idiots who basically drag you down and basically force you to lose the game, and you want to gain something out of that win or loss, even if it was absolutely a horrible game, you still want to gain something out of it. Then it's important to have those rewards. However, as you said, there's still got to be an incentive to win, and now if that incentive is just purely the satisfaction of winning, that does come from some games. We've played games where take Counter-Strike, for example. You win that game, you don't get... Well, okay, you get ranked up, but, that's only in a ranked... I guess in ranked, you get... That's the incentive of winning, isn't it? In a ranked game, that's the incentive of winning. You don't really get a reward, but, self-rewards for basically doing, well in the game
Usually
itself
it
is
comes
ridiculous.
with an addition of points or a better score in that regard.
If you put it in like a rank system where if you do a lot more objective play to then rank up than someone who's just sort of not really done much but still got the win, that I kind of see. You trying to see what I'm saying? Like, if you actually...
Yeah. I don't recall how exactly it is in Dead by Daylight, but I'm still going to take it as an example. The difference between winning or losing might be something around 5,000 points, as in whether you get to the escape or not. And over the course of a game, a good player might get something around 20,000 points, and a bad player might get something around less than 10,000, if he does nothing but escape.
If they do it like they do in Overwatch, which no one really knows how it works, but people have kind of worked it out, where if you do more damage, the hidden rank system is gonna push you up. Or if you do more healing or whatever, if you do any of just more numbers, if the numbers are just bigger, it doesn't necessarily lean towards a good team player. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just because the numbers are higher. And I'm worried that it might turn into like that. Like, how it is with Overwatch.
To be honest, they probably haven't thought this far into it. I think they've literally just said, look, when you're playing in a game with some, with maybe some randoms, you're probably just going to get rewards out of it if you play well. I think that's what they're trying to say. Because I think Deathgarden, when they actually finally release this new update or whenever they do this, I think all they're trying to say about personal rewards is that no matter if you win or lose, you're going to be getting something out of the game that you'll feel glad that you played the game. Basically, I think that's what they're trying to say. They're just saying that even if you if you win or lose, you're going to be feeling like you've earned something, and I think that's all they're trying to get across with it. So basically, so they're adding these new characters. They're basically giving people more rewards. They're then saying, and this was one that I think I was a bit weird. I mean, because we don't know how they're going to take it, but progression for these characters, it really depends how they take that, because are they going to be taking the progression like because I think there was a quote, I did write it down, didn't I? The more you play, the more potential with that character you get. Now that sounds to me like every character has stuff that's unlocked, locked.
Unlockable abilities, yeah.
Exactly. And I don't like the sound of that. I mean, I think we all don't like the sound of that, because we want a game where, basically I can pick this character without... Then again, I mean, when we played Evolve had that crappy 2%, 5%, 10% stuff, didn't it? Do you remember that? On the characters?
Yeah, but it got worse when it got to stage 2. Like, it wasn't too bad for us because we had all the perks unlocked. But for new players, if you had to unlock every single one of those perks before you even had a chance of competing with a pro player,
you were at a severe disadvantage.
Like, even in custom games, you could only use the perks that you had unlocked,
so
and which will destroy. Like, it will.
What should? Because I mean, like, they clearly they stressed that progression is a big thing that they want to push. So what could they do? Let's say progression isn't going to be releasing, new class ability, new abilities for these. Like, let's say you're playing as a runner who's a healer, and let's say you've already got, that runner's free abilities, and basically it's a set loadout. And you keep playing as this healer, and you're progressing with them. What do you get from progressing with them?
I hate the thought. Sorry, I just hate the thought of like not wanting a certain player or person playing a certain character or role just because they're going to be at a disadvantage in terms of unlocked abilities or skills or whatever. So I don't want to say like, oh, let's not put our friend into the healer role because he doesn't have all the stuff unlocked yet to be an efficient healer.
There's only 2 forms of progression that really do work. It's all cosmetics, which I don't think they're doing anymore because they've got set characters with set skins and everything. But they could have it.
Skins. They said there was skins.
Okay, so there are skins.
Yeah.
So obviously skins which don't change any gameplay whatsoever. It's just cosmetics. Or they do it as in token, like they've still got the token system. If they keep the token system, so you can then choose what you unlock. So you don't. It's not level based, so you can't unlock this perk until you get to level 70 or whatever.
Yeah.
So you know how they do in like Call of Duty, where every time you level up, you get tokens, and then you can use that token to then buy a new gun or get a new kill streak. I don't know if they still do it like that. I haven't played it since Ghost.
I don't mind. Like, I personally, the way I feel like the progression system should be is that you can. There's all these different, runners and hunters, all right, that you can play as, and I think they should go the way that. I mean, they should either do it like Overwatch, where everything's unlocked and basically the progression is just skins, or they do it kind of how like Evolve did it, and this isn't this doesn't have any prestige crap. It's more to cater for new players, and what I mean by this is, so let's say when they actually amazingly when they bring out this new update.
So, are you on about Legacy Evolve, not Stage?
No. I'm talking about Legacy Evolve basically. But it won't matter anyway. It's just an example. But let's say when they bring out this update, they have 4 hunters that are very distinct with their own abilities, their own backstories, their own names, and they have let's say let's go for 12 runners, 12 different runners in 4 different classes. So you have 4 healer runners, you have 4 disruptive runners, something like that. Now, if they do it so basically when you go into the game the first time and basically you want to play as a hunter, the first hunter you have to play as is this Hunter A. And now Hunter A probably could have the best sort of loadout catered to a new player. It's simple, it's easy to use. And then as you progress with that hunter, you then unlock the other ones. But that's only like until basically as soon as this is only for the start of the game. As soon as you've unlocked all the basically got played as these hunters and unlocked them, then that's it. They've unlocked for the rest of the game. That's what I was thinking. Maybe it's just easier to cater for new players. But then again, going back to that point that they said, the more potential you unlock with these, characters, that doesn't really fit what I'm saying. So
the only thing I would say about that is that they put so much emphasis on the progression that this kind of progression will be over quite quickly.
Yeah.
Like, once it's over, it's over. There's no more progression.
Let's look at it from another point of view. Maybe the progression is what we're going to say, and maybe it will be something like Vermintide, where basically, and the good thing about Vermintide is it's against AI, so that's why it works. It doesn't kind of work with this because you're playing multiplayer against another person. So as Phoenix said, if you're going up against a level 40 hunter and you're only level 10 and you haven't unlocked your abilities that you that probably could actually save your life in this game, it doesn't work. So
same with the perks, as it is like right now with the current balance, you have a certain dominant strategy that you want people to run with, and if you see people not running with it, you don't want to have them there. Like, let's take one example. You want people on the control role to have something like quick rescue so they can go for the block post save. And the natural reaction you get in matches where you see another person on control without that perk, it's like, ugh. Don't even bother.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to understand where.
But then, if they are softening team play, maybe it won't be as dramatic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's an odd one.
It's because it's like, well, progression sounds good, but as soon as you say, the more you play, the more potential. It sounds like it's...
with every answer you give, it brings up a rise of new questions that have to be answered because of other issues.
Maybe we're just reading it wrong. Maybe the more you play, the more potential. It's just talking about how good you're going to be getting with the character.
No. I don't think it's that at all.
Yeah,
I'd love it to be, but no.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be.
Because locking things behind the progression that have an impact on gameplay or mechanics are always going to bring some sort of an imbalance or a disadvantage to a new player. And that's something you have to even out. That's something you have to work with.
Yeah, I guess, maybe, I think progression is just one of those things that we'll have to see where, when they bring it out, what they're doing with it, because it's a hard one, and if you make it more about abilities than actually just unlocking skins and things that don't affect gameplay, then it becomes a problem. But anyway, let's move on. So I mean, we know exactly what sort of direction they're taking the game now. We know that they're doing characters. They know that they're basically giving more rewards, and they know that we more rewards basically per how you play, and more progression. So I think we've basically said that obviously there's no roadmap now. We know that there's no roadmap because basically
previous roadmap has been scratched. That means no more monthly updates, no more monthly bug fixes and patches and whatever they had announced over the course of the next.
And so this is the thing. So the roadmap was set for the rest of these months, basically. I mean,
pretty much.
I mean, December we were meant to be getting a new garden, I think, or something like that. I mean, this month we were meant to have a new garden condition, as I recall, and so they've completely scrapped that. And I mean, another thing that we are looking at right now is that I will double check this at some point, but the last time I checked, it said coming to console 2019. I saw it on Twitter. Somebody said, when is it coming to console? And they said 2019. So they are going to be bringing Deathgarden to console. I mean, does anyone know if Dead by Daylight's on console? Or is that not on console?
I'm not sure. Check.
Because I'm just going to check this quickly because I think it's a very important thing, because because I've never played Dead by Daylight.
Yeah,
so,
it is on console. It's on PS4,
oh yeah.
I think.
How much?
I don't know about Xbox.
Can you just check the price of it? How much is it? Oh, it's okay. So Dead by Daylight currently right now. Granted, it came out. I mean, I think 2016. Was it? Yeah, but it came out in 2016. Oh no, sorry, it came out in 2017. Initial release. Yeah, it came out in 2017. Well, 2016 to 2017, it came out. Currently, it's worth £15. Now, Deathgarden is selling for, I think it was like £30 at launch. Was it?
Did you say 15?
Yeah, Dead by Daylight currently is £15.
What the?
Currently £15. So what I don't know how much it's sold on launch, but what I'm trying to say is Deathgarden right now for early access is like £35, I think. So
wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's what the price is now, but it was like that when they first made it early access. So the game's £35. Now, take a game like Overwatch, that was also about £35. Now, and of course that had a shit ton of content. So if they're gonna bring this game to console in 2019, and we all know that this game is still in early access and nowhere near a fully developed game, even on Dead by Daylight standards. Basically where it has, a few maps and a few different characters you can play as when it had launch, it's still nowhere near ready. There's bugs, and there's just also a massive lack of content. So the fact that they're doing no roadmap right now is very scary, because it's not. I don't really want a roadmap, saying that, this month you're getting this month you're getting this. I think it's just because, I mean, well, this comes back to the conversation that we were having earlier about how recent has it been since they've done this massive switch in the office? Like, was this something that they've been having in the works for a while, or is this this massive change to their game that they've decided to do quite a recent thing? Basically.
Yeah.
And if it's quite recent, then that means that all these characters, all these new progressions and stuff like that, to make it a proper game, like a game that you could spend, bloody hours grinding and playing and having fun, is nowhere near ready. Now, I mean, then again, they could, to be fair, they can always just push back the date of the coming to console and actually really ensure that it's fine on PC. But, I hope they don't make that mistake of actually bringing it out on console too early, because, it would just be a stupid mistake, and it would just be basically cheesing a lot of people for their money. So either they have to lower the price and basically try to make the game, or for free, they could do it for free. I don't think they'll do that, though. I don't think they'll do that, because currently, I mean, there's so much shit.
No, but like you said, compared to other games of the same price class, it's just overpriced for what it delivers. Even though it's just in early access, I can't see a fully fledged out game being in the league of something like Overwatch when it comes to pricing. Even compared to their own game, Dead by Daylight, which is surprising to see that it's £15 or whatever, $20, when they ask for what is it, like $40-50 depending on which edition you buy for the Deathgarden one.
Yeah.
Because it's nowhere as fleshed out and it's nowhere as predictable to have as much content to be in such a price league.
Deathgarden, we've always said this, Deathgarden has the potential to be a great game, and it does. It's just at the moment, they've really got to take a step back and breathe and really look at their game and go, right, there's no way that we can sell this because it is just lacking far too much. We need to honestly, I'm hoping that they've basically said, look, okay, guys, if we're doing characters, we need to make sure that we have a really big, diverse number of runners, a really big, diverse number of hunters that, really are diverse and aren't similar in any way. Two of them have fucking shotguns as their main weapons. That would be really, kind of infuriating. And really try to sell I'm not saying they'd go for a AAA game or anything like that, but the game needs to be, it needs to have decent content. And right now, that's what the game really has been lacking all along. It's just been massive amounts of content. Of course, the team play has been a problem, but...
Yeah, I mean, sure, what we have so far is nice, but that's only going to take you so far because it's worn out, it's outplayed by so many matches we've had behind us, and we need other stuff. We need variety. We need.
One thing that I have to say, and it makes me annoyed because think about it. I think we talked about this as well. So we paid. I can't remember the exact price of Deathgarden when it came out.
It was about, I think it was 35, wasn't it?
£35. So we paid £35. We paid £35 to the developers. A lot of people bought Deathgarden. There's no doubt about that. They can't deny that. A lot of people did buy Deathgarden at launch. A lot of people, I think, a few people bought it after the free weekend. So where's that money going? And it pisses me off when I see them bloody trying to pay YouTubers to advertise their game. The content creators that love the game will do that for free. You do not need to pay fucking YouTubers to play your game. Let the content creators who are passionate about your game do that, because they will sell your game fine. As soon as you try to mass market it to kids, it just looks really scummy.
Who don't understand the game as well.
Who don't understand the game, exactly.
They don't understand the game. They're not giving a proper perspective of the game. It's just.
Yeah, it's advertising the wrong audience, because even if there's 100,000 people watching the video, they're watching it because of the fun aspect they are used to from the YouTuber, and that's not going to translate into any person buying the game because of that.
It's what happens with many games. Many games, basically trick their customers. They show them a really cool trailer that looks epic and oh my god, this looks like a fucking sick game. They pick it up and they have no idea what they're doing, or they play it once, they get absolutely fucking wrecked because they have no idea what they're doing, and they basically don't play it anymore. And then what's even worse is that the community that probably would love a game like this, that hardcore gamers that would want to play a game like Deathgarden, that have all these diverse characters, they can have a competitive esports scene, never see it because it's never advertised to those people. Deathgarden should have been advertised to those people.
And those are the people that are remaining. Those are the people that are the hardcore players, the couple of handfuls that play every week or so, that do team practice for the case that this will ever become an esports game.
Exactly. Deathgarden, there are Deathgarden devs. There are people playing your game currently that still, that are practicing for a competitive side of it. But of course, you're not delivering on that side. Instead, what you're delivering on is basically trying to make it more fun for the casual gamer, and that's fine. But this is the thing. Are they taking the game now? Are they completely, as I said, trying to soften team play and make this game no longer competitive? I mean, it's always going to be competitive, but you know what I mean. This is this game no longer going to be a game that people like an esports? Is this game no longer good? Because currently
define your audience before you try to cater to everybody.
Exactly,
because that's not going to work.
And right now, you're basically going to, I'm being judgmental, but let's say you took it down the casual way, you're basically shitting on all the people that are really passionate about your game right now, who are the game. Take all the people on the Discord that you guys have. Those guys aren't playing, Deathgarden because it's, it's basically a game that they just go on and have fun. They're playing it
because it's not enough players for that.
Well, yeah, but
people would do probably otherwise. Yeah.
But the people that are playing Deathgarden right now is the people that like that really hardcore game that is really hard, and you need to draw more of those people in. And I mean, but I can understand catering to the casual side, because games do need casual players to keep it alive. You can't rely on just having one side of a game. You have to have a casual side of it, and most games usually have that. So I can't blame them for doing that. And to be fair, character classes and the fantasy and the lore and the progression definitely will cater to those sort of people. So it's definitely a step in the right direction, but they need to make sure they maintain respect to the competitive side of the game and basically, cater to those people as well. What else have we need to talk about? What else have I put down here? Soft play won't appeal to the hardcore. I think actually we've talked about most of the stuff that we've got round. But is there anything you guys want to touch on? It can be anything really. It could be the characters. It could be the progression. It could be the personal rewards. It could be the fact that there's no roadmap, or it's coming to console in 2019.
No.
Just anything else or a message to the devs.
Yeah, I mean, all that goes through my mind right now is as much critique that I have about the game, it's all coming from a point where I want the game to improve, because we want more people to play it with. We want to play the game because we actually enjoy it, and the problem that we're having right now is a lot of people playing.
Yeah, I mean, Deathgarden. We're behind your game. We think it's. Oh, excuse me.
Oh my god!
I'm about to say a passionate speech, and I just fucking do that. We love your game. We're passionate about it. We've read up on some of the lore. I've seen some of the art, and it's amazing.
Yeah, we've read your art books. We admire the concepts. We admire the ideas behind it, and
I mean,
it got us hooked. It's what we want. We want to play your game.
I want to play those forest maps. I want to play those swamp maps. I want to have a little drone when I'm playing Hunter to help me kill runners. When I'm playing Runner, I want to have, a character that actually is talking when I'm jumping around, saying, maybe talking to the other runner classes that I'm with, actually immersing me in that field. I want to get behind hunters and runners that have personality, and I want to basically play as those people because they have such good personalities. But the main thing that I'm going to say, coming away from this, is don't rush it. There is no need, honestly, maybe just take a step back and really try to flesh out a really good, long game. I'm not saying go for campaign or anything like that, but just get the multiplayer packed full of I can't say the damn word. Content.
Variety.
Yeah.
I feel like once this update, it needs to come out as a fully fleshed game. It needs to have, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hunters, and then it needs to have about 8 different runners. It needs to come out with
more character classes.
Yeah, it needs to come out with okay, I can actually play this game, and I would happily pay £35 for this game because It's got everything that I want in it. And it's got to have about 3 or 4 variety maps, at least, hopefully more.
Right now,
I would say even more, but anyhow.
I would say more, but for the time, if this is coming out in 2019, for console.
Do you know what I've just realised?
I don't know whether. I hope it's late 19. I hope it's not January, because if it's January, they're not going to have much.
I've just really thought about something. So look at it like this, okay? Deathgarden right now. We played Deathgarden at launch. We as people knew it was early access. We knew that more content was coming. The roadmap they gave was a roadmap that should have been for when a full game's release. That's what it should have been. And it scares me because they were basically getting YouTubers to advertise an early access game. That's not right.
Yeah.
You should not be...
Mate, I feel like they've ran out of money, so they've given it to us so early just to get a little eco boost.
No, I have no problem with them.
Yeah, it's okay, but they've advertised it at the beginning. sort of like they would have a full release, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. They have basically tried to sell Deathgarden Early Access as a full game. And I think right now what they should do is, I mean, it sounds fucking horrible, but close the game, basically stop selling copies and close it right now. Then have play tests, basically say so people who actually have the early access right now. Because what happens is that they as soon as they bring out a new update, they sell it as like this massive new sort of like
here's the game.
Here's our next DLC update. That's what it's kind of felt like it's sold as.
Here's your new map pack.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, no. What they need to do is basically, so when let's say they need people playtesting this new sort of system that they've got going, say, okay, all people who have the early access for Deathgarden, please, come on this day and play the game, for about for 3 days straight. We want your feedback. Do that, because as soon as you let people have access to a game for as long as they want, then it doesn't become an early act. It doesn't. It doesn't work. You're trying to sell this as a full game, and it doesn't work like that.
People gonna buy it. They're gonna check it out. They're gonna get a negative impression and gonna put it aside, not picking.
They're gonna play for 30 minutes and then put a negative review on Steam, and then it's all gonna pile out of control. We've seen that happen before.
I mean, like, let me read this little part here. Arizona update. We are pleased to launch our first major content update okay, it does say in early access, but they shouldn't even be like why even bother releasing just small little actually I will say they did a very, very smart thing, which I can't remember. The developer on the video said something very smart. We are going to be now delivering much bigger content updates than just small little punches, sort of whatever they were saying. And that's smart, but they need to make sure that they don't advertise it. That's what they're doing wrong. They keep, every time a new update, these little updates came out, they kept advertising it as like a major content update. They shouldn't do that. Just keep it very quiet, keep it very low. Let the people who are playing, Deathgarden right now play it and give you feedback. And then maybe 6 months from now, when the game basically has 7 different maps, all these different hunters and all these different runners, then go, whoa, advertise it hugely and
look where we've come in the last 6 months.
Whoa, come back to Deathgarden now, guys, because there's so much content and stuff that you haven't seen. Instead of going, come back to Deathgarden, there's one new map and one new shotgun you haven't tried yet that I'm sure will change your experience. That's where they need to go from. Anyway. God, I just pray these developers are actually, really thinking about this smartly and from a marketing point, from a strategic, smart marketing point of view.
Well, they shouldn't even be thinking about marketing yet, really.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
Yeah,
don't think about marketing. No marketing.
Stop. Deliver a good game.
Yeah. I want
Make the
content.
game, then sell it.
I want content. That's what I want. Don't worry about balancing. Balancing we can do, because as long as you don't sell, try to sell any more copies of Deathgarden, advertising it, then balancing won't matter. Because
we can tell you what the balance is, and you just change the numbers. It's fine. Make the content. We'll give you feedback on we can be your balance testers.
No, I don't agree. They should have a balance testing team.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. But I mean, don't focus on it yet.
Yeah, Deathgarden. If you want a a balanced team, for free, just give us a ring and
they need to focus on the content. Obviously, if they stop selling the game, put it into a proper early access with the people that do have it. Balance isn't a massive issue. We can be there to guide you on the balance and the bugs that come in. You just create the content, make it playable within reason, you know what I mean, playable, it can actually work.
Do you know what?
And then we'll test it.
Do you know what game I've just realised is basically a perfect example of what Deathgarden's doing was DayZ Standalone. DayZ Standalone basically is is what Deathgarden will become unless they change their ways, because DayZ launched, DayZ Standalone launched with very little content, very little for you to do in the game, and loads of bugs. People bought DayZ Standalone, had a shit experience, and never played it again. But DayZ standalone, in early access, kept adding content over these months and months and months and months and months and months until basically they had, the game was pretty fleshed out. But by then everybody was just sick of it because it basically, no one wanted to play DayZ standalone because they'd already basically gone in and thought it was just more of what
played
they were doing.
The really buggy version.
Exactly. Yeah. And by then they've run out of, maybe money to market it or advertise it, and what can you do then? So Deathgarden really needs to just zip their mouths, to produce, tons of content, give it to the early access people who are, will keep it very quiet and maybe just, give you really good feedback on basically how we want to shape and change the game and say, oh, this might be a bit OP, or how about you change this perk in this way to make it a bit more better. Do that for the next few months, with all this, still bringing in new content, but no advertisement. We don't want to draw any more players into it because it might be unbalanced and not fixed. And
yeah, but keep it transparent. But
yeah, of course, keep it transparent. But then do then maybe when you're bringing it to console, do this huge announcement that you've completely revamped this game, and it's just completely almost new. It's like Deathgarden that you haven't even played before. Because as soon as you let people just jump on and just like play it for once in this early access phase, people will just leave, and that's all that's going to happen.
Yeah, with every incremental step that they take, advertise the game, like this is new, people are gonna come try it out and leave it. So every time it's gonna have like a piece of the target audience, check it out, and then put it aside again.
Well, I think I've covered most of what I want to get out. I think if there's any more that I'm doing, I'm just ranting at this point. I'm just having a go at Deathgarden. Monkey, is there anything else you want to say?
No, to be honest, I think that's it. Otherwise, I'll go into a similar rant, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you want, if you want more feedback, let us know, sort of thing. But we're always here for you, Deathgarden. If you want more feedback, just let us know. But thank you very much for watching this podcast, and we hope that you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, I didn't get my bye, did I? Oh well.